Welcome to the Bettendorf Public Library's Take-Home Workshop. Today we're making doily wreaths. I like these wreaths because you can dress them up for any holiday or any decor just by changing out bows or ribbons or other attachments. So let's get started and see what's in our kit. In our kit you'll find an 8-inch wreath form. You'll find just one piece of plain white paper, and you're going to find a stack of 40 white paper doilies, as well as a glue stick. What we're asking you to provide is just a pair of scissors that you're going to use to cut the paper. That's all there is to it, so let's get started. For our first step, we're going to take our paper and we're going to cut thin strips of paper. About 1/2 inch wide, and we're going to use these to wrap this inner wire. It can be a little fiddly, but we're going to put a little bit of glue on the end there and just wrap it around and kind of stick it to itself. And then we're going to just wrap it . And we'll just keep wrapping like that all the way around. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not much of this is going to be visible when we're fully done, because there's going to be a layer of doilies over that, but it will keep any from the black from peeking through once we get done with our doilies. So I'm going to finish wrapping this and we'll be right back. So we have our inner ring wrapped with just plain paper, and it's not, you can see it's a little messy in spots, and that's okay because that's mostly going to be covered. It's just to cover up some of that black in between our doilies. So our next step now is to fold our doilies. So we want to fold them so that they're a triangle shape, kind of a rounded bottom. So I'm using these sections as my guidelines, these parts of the doily that are solid. And I'm going to fold it from there to there, and then same thing on the other side. It makes a little triangle with a rounded bottom. Now we have to fold all 40 of them like this, so we'll go ahead and fold those. Again, put your two solid parts at the top there, and then just fold in and fold in. Now some of you will have doilies that are kind of that are not already separated. Mine got separated as we were doing the count, and for example these ones. And you have to be kind of careful with that because you don't want to get more than one doily. So you can see they can peel apart. And what I do is I just kind of bend one of these corners and give it a little rub, and they'll start to separate at the edges. So if yours aren't peeled apart, then go ahead and peel them apart and then do your folding. So we'll go ahead and we'll fold all of these and we will be right back. I've folded all my doilies, again just in a triangle shape, with the folds running from the outer edge of this solid piece to the outer edge of this one, and same on this side. So you have a triangle with a rounded bottom. Now we're going to start applying them to our wreath. And all we do is we slide it through. We're going to start on the outermost ring and work our way inwards. So slide it through. And again, as a general guideline, and this is very flexible, so you can make it as big or as little as you want. But I am going to, again, take this little solid bit of my doily and glue it to this solid bit of my doily. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to wrap it around and fold it. And then I'm going to just a little dot of glue and stick that down. And you can go through and you can stick all your layers, or you can just stick kind of those top 3. It depends on how fluffy you want your doilies to be. So if I just glue this layer to the bottom, then it's going to give it some room in here to puff out a little bit. So I'm going to glue once here, then I'm going to wrap it. And glue one more time. I want these pretty snug next to each other because I like a full wreath. I don't want a very flat wreath. Oops, my glue came undone. You don't want to be too sparing with your glue stick. I have a tendency to go light on that, and that doesn't always work well for me. So, see? So try a little bit more. Press down again. So I'm going to squinch these together. I'm going to do my best to fit 5. So your wreath form is divided into thirds. I want to have 5 doilies in this outermost section. And I might have to really cram it in there, but that's okay because it's going to give a little bit more heft, a little more dimension, I guess would be a good way to say it, to our wreath. Pull that down. And there we have the outermost part of our wreath. 1/3 of it done. So I'm going to keep going with the rest of this, and then we'll do the same on the inside. And on this middle ring, I'll probably do 4 doilies, and then 3 on the inner ring. But we'll see what we can do. But first I'm going to go around and finish my outer ring. I've used 15 doilies. I've put 5 in each third of my wreath frame, and my outer level is done. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with this inner level. The number of doilies that you use may vary depending on how far in or out, how far you extend your doilies out. If you make the fold closer to the base, your wreath is going to be wider, it's going to cover less of the wire, and it's going to be a bigger wreath. So there's flexibility involved in terms of the size and the number of doilies that you use. But we're going to go ahead and we'll start on our next level of doilies. Keep in mind that you can get doilies in different colors. And so if you wanted to do something like this for, let's say you wanted to do something like this for a high school graduation, you could get it. If you can get doilies in your school colors, you could do that in your school colors. You could do it in maybe green and white for a St. Patrick's Day, or whatever holiday you want to do. You could do a red, white, and blue for 4th of July, anything like that. I think they even make metallic doilies. So you could do, for a silver anniversary, you could do a silver one. And I was thinking, we were thinking that these would go, you could hang them on a door, probably not an exterior door because they are paper, but you could hang them on a wall or a door. You could also, though, lay one flat and get those, put a floral arrangement in the middle, or get an electric candle. They have such good looking electric candles now that look so realistic, and they flicker like a realistic candle, and put that in the middle. I don't think you would want to put a real candle in there because, again, paper and flame, not a good combo. But so again, now you can start to see I'm getting more dimension here. I've got 4 doilies in this center section. So I'm going to keep going and do my middle row with 4 doilies each. Okay, middle row done with 4 doilies per section of the frame. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this intersection, and we're going to it'll probably fit 3 per frame. And this is why you'll see now why we covered this one, because you can see, like on these ones, you can see sometimes a little bit of space in between the doilies. Now that won't matter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep going, doing the exact same thing we've been doing. This time on the middle ring of the frame. And I'm trying not to push down on this to get to glue the set. I'm going to squeeze it like this instead, because I don't want to smash my bottom layers if I can help it, because I want that depth. So there's the next one, and we're going to keep going all the way around for that one. And now our wreath is mostly done. I have one more step I'm going to do. Now, if you're going to use your wreath flat on a table, this next step is not necessary. But if you want to hang it on a wall, if you hang this up, then these are they're gonna flop down. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of glue on the back of those to stick them to the row behind them. And again, you want to be kind of careful. You want to do this without flattening them all the way. You want them to stick together, but you don't want them to be totally smashed so that you lose your fluff. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to do that. And that way, and you don't even have to do it on the whole thing. You can do it just on the half that will be the top of your wreath, so that when you lift it up, you can see these ones aren't going to flop down. If I lift it the other way, see how those ones, over time, they'll fall down. The ones that I glued the back to the row behind them will not do that. So if you're gonna hang it on a wall, you're gonna wanna do that. So there's your wreath. You might want to do some adjusting of your doilies to cover your black as well as on it. And if you have some sections where the black's showing and you don't like that, you can always go back in again. Like I said, with paint, white nail polish would work as well. A little bit of white paper and you can cover that up. You can put your doilies in tighter. There's all sorts of things you can do. You could put more ribbon around here. You could wrap ribbon, like a colored ribbon, in between your doilies here and bring it out like a curly ribbon so that you have elements of colors right here. There's so many things that you can do with this wreath that will customize it for your home, for your event, that will make it attractive. So show us what you do. We want to see your wreaths, so tag us on social media. And we want to thank the Bettendorf Public Library Foundation and Quad City Bank and Trust for sponsoring this Creation Studio program.